work on the gremlin a little bit more before we move it to the shop. Currently it's snowing and raining again, so it's kind of forced to be stuck here. But with that being said, we've got some new parts for it. We're not actually fixing anything that's broken. We're going to add some more stuff to it to see if we can make it look better. I don't know if that's going to be any faster, but guess we'll find out. And unfortunately for what I got to do, I got to take the hood back off, remove all the air intake, and take the intake off. So that's what we're going to be doing. Also, I need to replace the alternator because it's going bad. The regulator's going bad in it. So, alright, well, we already know how to remove a hood by now, so I'm going to get that done and tear into some more stuff. Alright, with all the intake off, the intake boot and stuff, which is just a hose clamp on this particular engine. A couple bolts here. Hold this old crusty alternator on, and then you know, the wiring to the alternator on my particular wiring job is all connected to the throttle body. Now I am going to have to let some of the coolant out. I generally don't even mess with doing this, but I did on this. So the antifreeze runs through the throttle body on these to keep them from freezing up in the cold weather. Like the AMX, I don't even have that hooked up. I just bypassed the throttle body, but gonna have to fix it on this, and looks like it's got a little bit of an antifreeze leak anyway, so chances are I'm gonna bypass it. I'm not gonna hook it back up to the throttle body, but like I said, I have to drain a little fluid out, get that off, move the alternator out of the way, unhook those injectors and the map sensor on the back there, and really that's all. Not a whole lot to do. Remove my throttle cable, and after that I think there's 10 bolts holding the intake on, so I'll get all that removed and we'll go from there. Alright, I got the intake off. One thing I forgot to mention, you might want to unhook your fuel relay, your fuel pump relay, or the wire to your fuel pump, and crank over the rig. Let it suck all the pressure out. It may try to start and run, but pretty doubtful, just to get your fuel pressure down. Anyways, did that, removed the 10 bolts, unhooked the vacuum lines there, and intake came right off. Pretty surprised, pretty clean in here. It's a little bit oily in the intakes, but there's not much oil, there's not a pool of oil gathered inside the intake, so these heads were off of that really junky old 5.3, and so was that intake, and that intake was really nasty when I pulled it off that 5.3, so it's pretty clean still, so at least we know this 4.8, it doesn't have a lot of blow-by and stuff going on in it. But anyway, so you might actually be really wondering, well, what parts did we buy when we got to pull this off? I'll give you a hint. It's not a camshaft, but that's right, it's a new intake. So the reason I was getting rid of that old intake, like I said, super crusty, gross looking. You know, when you open the hood, just didn't really look very good in my opinion. So now this intake I got, and they're pretty expensive. I got lucky and actually got this in on a trade. It's brand new. It's one of the Edelbrock high ram jets, I think they call them, or something. High ram intake. So basically it's a tunnel ram for fuel injection. It's all brand new. Everything in it. I had an old Z28 LT1 6-speed Camaro. I needed a lot of work, but had it for quite a long time. Never had it on video just because it needed more work than I was capable of doing. It had some minor problems in the unibody up front where it was bent and he could never get the alignment on the car, and it would eat front tires like you wouldn't believe. And really nice car, but it'd been wrecked at some point and just had some problems that I just couldn't bring myself into trying to work on. So anyways, my point is I knew a guy that's been wanting it for a long time. He didn't have the amount of money I really wanted for the car, but he came up with this. He had this intake for an LS swap he never got around to, and so he gave me this and some money, and we made a deal. So this intake is like $900 or something from Summit Racing. So they are pretty pricey. I'm guessing I'm going to have to figure out a few things about it. Looks like it's got the map sensor and all that stuff in it. Pretty sure you can use whatever injector you want on this. It's got multiple holes for the fuel rail height and all that stuff. Sorry about that. But anyways, they're pretty expensive, so that's what we're going to put on the Gremlin. Like I said, I have not installed this. I don't know much. It looks like it comes with all the hardware, so that's good. I already know before anybody tells me, yes, it's going to kill the low end torque, blah, 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 but for what my wife's doing with this Gremlin and what she plans on doing hopefully this year with this Gremlin, top end power is where we're going to want anyways. Not saying that I'm probably going to end up putting a stage 2 cam in this, but for right now, since I can't move the Gremlin over to this new shop right this minute, we're going to just go ahead and utilize the garage since I've got another 20 days worth of rent time in this garage anyways, and we're going to use it to the fullest and get this Gremlin put together a little bit more. So I'll get some of this out, we'll set it on the car and see how it's going to look. I doubt the hood will shut. Alright, well, it's been about a week later. I've been just picking at this as I got time to work on it after work and all that stuff. I don't remember exactly what my first thoughts were on the intake, but if I did say, you know, for $900 or whatever, they should come with intake gaskets. It does come with intake gaskets. It's just totally different than the normal ones. Of course, I already put it on, didn't videotape it, but there's pretty much these little O-rings that go on each leg, and that is the intake gasket on it. So pretty simple install. Nothing out of the ordinary or anything. A little bit close to the windshield wiper, but there's probably just a shy quarter inch or so, 3/16, something like that maybe. But anyway, so when you get these kits, I'm sure everybody does their research and is well aware of what they need, but you're not supposed to use it with the stock truck injectors, but you can do anything you want to do. You just have to get a little creative. But I just made myself some straps, and you know, you probably don't want to do this yourself, but right under the fuel rail, I just cut the little, there's a hole there for your bolt. There's just the one, and it's like, you know, maybe an 1/8 inch of material. I just slot those so I can raise the fuel rail up just a little bit and strap them in there. So, and the supercharger on that AMX is exactly the same way. It's running decapped truck injectors, and it's been fine, no problems. But you know, other things you'll have to do is your throttle cable and stuff. You'll obviously have to get a fuel pressure regulator, which this worked out really good. It just kind of bolts right on top of the tunnel ram and sits there, and you know, all that good stuff. Same with these fittings. You know, you can spend a bunch of money on fittings, these fuel rails. The kit does not come with any fittings, AN fittings or Dash 8 or 6 or any of that stuff, but I'm pretty fortunate. We have like a Case International they just sell parts and stuff, and they actually carry pretty much all these Dash 6, 8, all these fittings, and they only cost me like $10 for the 390s that go on that. Then there's a line that you connect them to your other fuel rail, and then you need a plug on one end, and they had all that stuff in stock. So a little bit more on the straps I made there, but throttle cable was pretty simple. I just took the factory bracket and modified it and bolted it right onto the intake bolt, and it's nice and sturdy. Alternator fits, doesn't rub the alternator. Biggest thing you're gonna have to do is run if you're gonna use this, throttle cable style instead of a drive-by-wire, you're gonna have to run your throttle body upside down. And I saw it on a bunch of posts and actually talked to a guy, and he says he just runs his upside down. He said a lot of these guys, you'll see them, you look close enough, the throttle bodies are just flipped over. So you got your throttle cable on this side instead of the traditional on this side where the cable goes up and over. You can just run it on the side. I have all that fitted and stuff. I actually got to make a gasket for this. The next thing is this intake's designed for the 92 millimeter 4 bolt newer style. I don't have one of those right now. I have the 3 bolt style, but you can take these plates that are actually designed to put a 4 bolt style on a 3 bolt intake, and a little bit of machining and elbow grease and stuff, you can actually flip it backwards and make it work the same way. Put a 3 bolt on a 4 bolt intake. So like I said, one thing at a time. We got to get this stuff moved out of here pretty quick. This is just enough to get this car running and back on the road. But what will follow with this car is going to be a stage 2 cam, and I may have to pull the transmission out and change out the torque converter and a few other little small things, but that's going to have to wait until we get to the new shop. So that's approaching us very quickly here. So I'm going to finish up the throttle body stuff and get that back on. And oh, one last thing too. You will have to extend your wires to your throttle body. They used to bolt up over here. Well, since I got it upside down and over, I had to extend my wiring harness a little bit, but no big deal. And then maybe the last thing is it does come with all the fittings to plug up in the back of the intake. Got the map sensor back here, and then I got to cut that a little bit for my PCV valve, and yeah, put that on there, and that'll be all the vacuum lines. And this thing's getting close to be started, other than I gotta do the top gasket and all the bolts and stuff, but I will get to those here in a few minutes. Alright, well, it's been several more days since the last time I put any video into this, and I do believe I was doing the fuel system and getting her buttoned up, but just been so busy with work and stuff lately, and been on call and having to go on call so much that I haven't had time to really mess with it too much on videotaping. But try to go over some of this stuff again, and I do apologize if I repeat stuff I've already said once, but I can't quite remember what the last thing I was talking about was. So it does run. It's all done and running. Took it out for a good 70-mile drive yesterday and ran perfect, no problems. And I might try to get out and drive it a little bit today, but it's like 50-mile-an-hour winds and just, I don't know, just always snowing, raining, or windy over here. So that's the nice thing about the new shop. I think we'll be kind of blocked from the wind. We won't have as much wind, so it'd be nicer to be able to actually record outside a little bit sometimes. But anyways, so I think I was talking about, you can adapt these plates that you buy for doing the 4 bolt 92 or 90 millimeter to the 3 bolt intake, and you can basically flip it around and drill it out and make it work to put the 3 bolt onto the 4 bolt. And also having to put the throttle body on upside down, and the reason I had to do that is because of the throttle cable. It traditionally kind of goes over the intake and comes over here, has not affected it at all. Running it upside down doesn't seem to make a difference really. So I don't know if it would or not. I have seen plenty of cars and stuff with this intake, and they actually have the 92 millimeter cable throttle body flipped upside down, so it's on this side as well. So must be common practice. We talked about using the regular truck injectors on this. They've worked fine, haven't had any issues, nothing blowing up, anything like that. No fuel leaks. So as far as the intake boot, until I got more time to figure something out, I used to have some hokey setup where I used this 3-inch piece of exhaust with a dirt bike filter over the top to filter it, but this one here gave me just a little bit more room, believe it or not, and I was able to actually put a regular size air filter on here. And this metal piece I just kind of bent, it's actually aluminum, just kind of bent, kind of curved it around, and that's just to block the hotter air from the radiator getting sucked into this. And I left this little 3-inch exhaust pipe. It's kind of a nice little air deterrent, sort of. I mean, probably isn't doing anything, but makes me feel like I've done something. Fuel regulator was super easy on this. I didn't have to modify any of my existing fuel lines or anything, just used what I had and adapted it over to that. And I talked about being able to get these -8, -6 fittings from my local tractor supply store, and that saved me a bunch of time. And other than that, pretty simple. I put a different alternator I had laying around, and that fixed the headlight flickering problem I had. I need to obviously get a new battery strap and do some more clean up to it, and I'd like to get down in here and actually clean up some of this. The paint's pretty nice, but of course I never cleaned it when I had the engine out and stuff. I was just in a hurry to get the LS put together. So, but all in all, I already know with this intake I lost a lot of bottom end torque, especially being on a stock cam. I already know that, but like I said, we're gonna be putting a cam in this here really soon and a few other upgrades to it. And there's still, you know, I might dabble into putting a small turbo on this, so that was kind of the bigger reason to have the snorkel on there. So, but one thing at a time, you know, a project that runs and drives is a lot easier to work on a project that doesn't run and drive. So, if I do any driving here in a little bit, I'll add it on the end of this video, but if not, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Poor little gizmo got neutered. And it's really windy outside, did I mention that? Well, it's like 64 degrees, but it is super windy. So, go off for a little cruise here for a little bit. Better go see if this guy's home. He's got a bunch of cool classic cars for sale. Maybe I'll stop by and have a quick look at them. Pulling through the super small town of Churchill. I'll give you a couple guesses on why they call it Churchill. I'll give you a hint. There's a lot of churches. Anyways. step out in the wind vortex. He usually has more than this, but looks like he's got mostly just trucks. A really nice looking Mustang. We'll get out and do a little recording. I don't see him around, but he might be over there, who knows. Well, it is so windy out there. I tried to do just even any recording, but it kept just blowing everything. So this is the next best thing I'm gonna do for you guys. It always happens like this. I don't know what that is, an old Dodge or General Motors or something, sort of flatbed looking thing. Some other Fleetmaster maybe, or no, that's a Ford, I think. But I'll just do my little thing here. So I didn't get a price on that, but I'm sure it's probably $3,000. I think it's a 54 maybe a 56. It's not a 55. This one here I'm pretty sure is a 55. These are all original flathead vehicles and all that good stuff. Don't know much about the Dodge. He quickly told me that his Wagoneer was $3,200, so that's kind of, well, I'm guessing those other ones are the $3,000 range, because that one there is in pretty poor shape. I will put my little walkthrough on the very end of this, but trust me, it's just going to be mostly wind noise. And then his red Mustang, he wants $10,000 for that. No title, and the transmission's burned up, but it has a 289. Looks like the deck lid is a little wonky on it. I mean, a clean car, but I don't know. Even at $10,000, it seems a little pricey for no title and no transmission. Old Chevy, I think, or GM. Pretty sure it's an old Chevy. And then his old truck, his Jeep truck, which he wants like $3,400 or something for it. If you watched a little wind walkthrough I do, I did put his phone number on that for sale sign, so I take a kind of a quick look in the insides of them and grills and stuff, but it's not a very good quality guaranteed. So alright, well anyways, I guess it's better than nothing. We're about half hour from home in that general direction out that way. So I'm going to drive through town and get a bite to eat, go home and edit this and put it on the channel for you guys. So stay tuned if you want to see the other things. If not, thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Okay, I'm really sure the wind's going to screw this all up. I'll try to talk when it's calm, sort of. So the red Mustang, he wants $10,000 for it. Transmission's burned up. Has no title. He said 289. I don't know if I already said that. Brakes. He wants $3,200 for this wagon. Might be worth that, I don't know. I don't see too much bond on it.